What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Surfing the Stream, where every week we're on a quest to find out what is the greatest movie of all time. The very first episode of the Penguin series is about to drop on HBO Max, so I thought it was a great time to go back to the Batman and really see if my thoughts and opinions have changed about this movie. I always thought it would be near impossible for another Batman movie to reach the heights of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The Batman is another gritty, realistic take on the titular character, and Matt Reeves knocks it out of the park. What I love so much about the Batman is the fact that we get a completely different character aside from Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. Sure, there are some similarities, but there's just something about this vengeance arc that 100% works for me. Batman is ready to inflict some serious punishment on criminals. Hell, the running gag has always been that Batman won't kill you, but he'll beat you to an inch of your life. And this iteration of Batman uses that as kind of the core of his development until the end, where he kind of realizes that he needs to be hope, not vengeance. And then I'll just go ahead and say that the fact that he never said, I'm Batman in this movie, and when I asked him who he was, he said, I'm vengeance, might be the coolest fucking thing that has ever been said in a Batman movie. Robert Pattinson does an incredible job of bringing something new to the table with his iteration of the character. And I know a lot of people had their thoughts and opinions about Robert Pattinson before this movie ever came out, and they were wrong. You go watch any of his other movies other than Twilight, and he is a fantastic actor. He is more of a tortured soul than all the other Batman that came before him. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it, because we've got some very dark and gritty takes on this character. He doesn't get a ton of screen time as Bruce Wayne, but I really enjoyed the whole Batman is the true face while Bruce Wayne is the mask concept that they kind of played with here. And sure, Nolan's trilogy played with that a lot in Batman Begins, but I feel like it works really well in this movie. Bruce has very little of a relationship with Alfred until he realizes that he's afraid to lose him. I thought it was a nice change of pace and a different take on that relationship between Bruce and Alfred. Those moments with Alfred and even Catwoman are just so good throughout the entire movie. The chemistry between all the actors it can't be overstated how great it is. Paul Dano as Riddler is absolutely fantastic and unhinged. I do think he teeters on that edge of being too over the top, but for the most part, he is able to give us a very different take on the Riddler, and I thought he was incredible for the most part throughout the entire movie. Now, I can't properly review this movie without mentioning some of the minor things that seriously, it's the reason why this is a top 3 Batman movie for me. One, the score is freaking insanely good. One of my favorite scores, period. I love the horror vibes that kind of comes out in it. It almost reminds me of like a modernized Danny Elfman score with a horror twist to it. Number 2, the city of Gotham looks incredible. Gotham has always been like an extra character in all the Batman movies, and Reeves does a really good job of adding scope with that world and the set designs and making Gotham have a unique look to it compared to the other Batman movies. Like, it almost gives me like a gothic London look to it. And then the minor little details, such as Batman's boots being loud as shit and kind of scaring off the criminals, such a great touch that I didn't know that I needed. And the camera shots are so damn good in this movie because Reeves is not afraid to really show us POV shots and to put you right in the middle of that action. And the last thing that I want to mention is we finally get a Batman detective movie. Yes, there are Zodiac and Seven influences woven throughout. I mean, that hasn't been a secret that those movies have influenced this movie. When the Batman first released, I had an issue with the fact that it didn't really feel like it was truly suspenseful. And upon a few different viewings, I think this is like the 6th time that I've seen the movie, I can say that my opinion about it was wrong. The suspense is very subtle, but it's there the entire time. It's definitely a slow burn detective film, which is just what this franchise needed. And I love how Batman is not the world's greatest detective in this movie. He's still young and inexperienced, and he makes mistakes throughout the entire movie and during his investigation, and even when he's fighting. it's just very interesting to see where they're going to go with that aspect of the character in the sequel. I love this movie more and more with every watch, and it's going to be interesting to see if this ever overtakes the first two Nolan movies for me. But for now, it is safely planted at number 3 all time for the Batman franchise, and I can't be more excited for the Penguin series to drop. It's going to be a couple years before we get Batman 2. Fingers crossed for a Winter Wonderland, No Man's Land with Mr. Freeze. That would be so fucking dope. But in the meantime, we get the Penguin and Colin Farrell as the Penguin. So I'm pretty damn excited about that. But guys, let me know down in the comments below of what you thought about the Batman. Where does it rank among the other Batman movies? And I'll catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.